Here's a truth that almost no man fully grasps, and it's the kind of insight that can completely change the way women respond to you. Boundaries don't push women away, they pull them in. I'm not talking about petty games or rigid rules designed to manipulate. I'm talking about real boundaries that come from self-respect, clarity, and grounded masculinity. The kind that communicates, without words, I know who I am. Hi, I'm Sarah Johnson, and welcome to The Female Touch, where we explore the psychology of attraction, relationships, and understanding women. If you've ever felt confused about what women truly want, or wondered why some guys seem effortlessly magnetic, you're in the right place. Have you ever noticed a woman leaning in emotionally when you hold your ground? That micro shift is where attraction really begins. By the end of this video, you'll understand 6 specific boundaries that trigger attraction at a psychological level. Let's start with boundary number 1, the unavailable advantage. At first glance, this sounds counterintuitive. But here's the psychology. Your time is your most valuable resource, signaling that your life has purpose beyond her is magnetic. Availability communicates value, or the lack of it. Scarcity isn't manipulation, it's a natural reflection of living a full, intentional life. One of my clients, Jason, learned this the hard way. He used to cancel everything just to be available, and the woman drifted away. Once he started holding space for himself, going to the gym, pursuing projects, interests shifted. She began seeking him out. Boundary 2, the no apology rule. Saying no isn't just about the denial, it's about how you carry yourself. Most men overexplain when they decline. But when you say no calmly and confidently, you send a message of self-trust. Women are drawn to men who have a strong internal compass. You're not being rude, you're being self-assured. Now, boundary 3, the respect reflex. Disrespect is usually subtle, an eye roll or a dismissive tone. The key is to address these moments calmly. I'd appreciate if we keep it respectful, communicate strength and emotional maturity. Women feel safer and more understood around a man who respects himself. It creates a shift toward increased warmth. Moving on to boundary 4, the calm test. In psychology, this is called emotional regulation under provocation. A man who remains calm during teasing demonstrates emotional control. She relaxes because she associates you with security. My viewer Mark stayed calm when teased. His partner later said she was impressed with how unshakable he seemed. Boundary 5, the authority silenced. Every time you overexplain, you're unconsciously seeking validation. True confidence is efficient. Instead of a long justification, a confident man delivers clarity with simplicity. Efficiency communicates control and attraction. And finally, boundary 6, the mission-first code. This is where everything changes. When a man has a mission, he radiates magnetic energy. The right woman wants to join a journey that already has momentum. You become the gravity, she becomes the orbit. Masculine energy rooted in purpose leaves a lasting impression. It's unforgettable because it's authentic. Now that you understand the 6 boundaries at a high level, let's explore how to practically implement them in your daily life, so they don't just exist as ideas in your head, but as behaviors that naturally radiate confidence and attraction. Starting again with the unavailable advantage, think of it as your personal time economy. Your time is currency, and the way you spend it communicates your priorities and value. Here's a simple exercise. For 1 week, deliberately schedule 2 to 3 blocks of your day where you are fully unavailable to anyone. No texts, calls, or social media distractions. Not because you're avoiding someone, but because you're committed to your own goals, hobbies, or self-care. Notice how it feels. Most men report an initial discomfort because they are wired to seek approval or stay on call. But by day 3 or 4, they notice a shift. Interactions with women are more engaged, conversations feel richer, and the subtle tension, the magnetic curiosity, starts to emerge naturally. This isn't about ignoring women. It's about holding space for yourself and inviting her into your world on your terms. Next, let's expand on the no apology rule. Saying no is as much about internal psychology as external communication. When you feel compelled to apologize constantly, It usually stems from a fear of rejection or a desire for approval. But the truth is, women are more attracted to men who trust themselves, not men who bend to meet external expectations. Try this exercise. Whenever you are tempted to apologize unnecessarily, maybe for declining a plan, for taking your own time, or for prioritizing a task, stop and replace the apology with a simple acknowledgement of your choice. For example, instead of, "Sorry I can't make it, I've been so busy," try, "I won't be able to make it, I've got some important work I need to focus on. Let's plan another time." Over time, this internalizes self-trust, and women perceive it as rare confidence, which is one of the strongest drivers of attraction, according to studies in dating psychology. Moving to the respect reflex, let's dig deeper into why subtle disrespect chips away at your perceived value. Human beings, both men and women, are wired to detect hierarchy and boundaries unconsciously. When you let small disrespect slide, it signals to her and to your environment that your standards are negotiable. Here's a psychological insight. Women often gauge men based on how he enforces his boundaries, even in small ways. A minor sarcastic comment can reveal whether a man respects himself. So here's a practical tip. Start small. The next time a woman teases you or subtly disrespects your opinion, pause and respond calmly. For example, "I see what you're saying, but I'd appreciate if we speak respectfully." The beauty of this approach is twofold. You maintain composure, which women find highly attractive, and you create a sense of safety that encourages her to open up more emotionally. Real-life story. One of my viewers, Tom, noticed that after he calmly addressed minor disrespect from his partner, her engagement in conversations increased by 40%. She became more attentive, affectionate, and even playful, because the dynamic of respect was clearly established. Now, let's talk more about the calm test. This is where the subtle art of emotional regulation really becomes an advantage. Women often test men without consciously realizing it. It's a natural psychological mechanism to gauge stability, reliability, and leadership potential. To train this, try an exercise I call the pause and assess method. The next time she teases, criticizes, or tests you, pause for 3 seconds before responding. Breathe, center yourself, and respond with calm clarity. Instead of reacting emotionally, respond with controlled humor, a gentle acknowledgement, or a simple smirk that communicates, "I see you, but I am not shaken." This subtle shift in behavior taps into the attraction psychology principle that stability under pressure equals leadership, and women are wired to notice and respect it instinctively. For the authority-silenced boundary, let's explore why overexplaining kills attraction. Humans, especially women in the context of dating, pick up on confidence through efficiency. Long explanations, justifications, or rambling messages subconsciously indicate uncertainty or a need for validation. To practice this, start with your next decision-making moment. Whatever you choose, whether it's declining an invitation, deciding on a date activity, or setting a personal boundary, say it in one confident sentence. For instance, "I can't make it tonight, but let's meet tomorrow," is far more powerful than a paragraph of excuses. Over time, this habit creates a magnetic perception. You are seen as decisive, trustworthy, and grounded, a man whose presence communicates more than his words ever could. Psychological studies in attraction consistently show that clarity, decisiveness, and brevity in communication are among the top subconscious triggers of interest. Finally, the mission-first code. This is perhaps the most transformative of all boundaries. Women are not attracted to men who are empty vessels looking for validation. They are attracted to men with a purpose, a mission, or a meaningful life trajectory. Here's a simple exercise. Define your personal mission, not vague aspirations, but specific, actionable goals that excite you daily. Maybe it's building a career, launching a passion project, or training for an endurance challenge. Then, communicate it subtly in your interactions. For example, "I've been working on this project for a few weeks. It's really important to me. I'd love your input when you're free." This invites her into your world without making her the center of it. The psychological effect is profound. You radiate purpose, and women are instinctively drawn to men who are already moving forward, creating momentum, and living with clarity. In practical terms, this boundary transforms your dating life from transactional to magnetic. Now, let's integrate all 6 boundaries into a daily practice routine that builds them into your personality naturally. Time blocks. Schedule personal time where you are fully unavailable to anyone. Treat it as sacred. No apology. Drill. Each day, consciously replace unnecessary apologies with confident acknowledgement. Micro-respect. Practice. Identify subtle disrespect, pause, and respond calmly. Emotional pause. Exercise. When tested, pause 3 seconds, center, and respond with calmness or humor. Decision. Brevity. Make decisions with one confident sentence. No over-explaining. Mission. Clarity. Define one core mission, pursue it daily, and share it subtly in interactions. Over the next 30 days, if you follow this routine, you'll notice shifts not just in how women respond to you, but in how you feel about yourself. That inner confidence, grounded, calm, purposeful, is what makes attraction sustainable. Women sense authenticity, and they gravitate toward it naturally. Now that you understand the boundaries and have some exercises to implement them, let's bring them to life with real-world examples and psychological insight so you can see exactly how they manifest in dating, relationships, and everyday interactions with women. Take the unavailable advantage again. It's not just about waiting to text back or being physically busy. It's a mindset. Imagine you're at a social event, and a woman you're interested in approaches you. Instead of dropping everything to cater to her attention, you continue engaging in your conversation, smile warmly, and naturally make room for her. You're not ignoring her. You're projecting purpose and presence. Women notice this instantly. In fact, one of my viewers, Alex, shared that when he began prioritizing his personal projects over immediate attention, women started approaching him first, often asking him out or initiating conversations. Scarcity doesn't create distance. It creates intrigue. Here's a small psychological insight. Humans naturally assign higher value to what is rare or limited. When you're always available, your time loses perceived value. When you hold your time with intention, you communicate that your life has gravity, and women are naturally drawn to it. Try this exercise. For 1 week, deliberately schedule a non-negotiable block of personal time each day. During this time, no texting, no calls, no social media. Observe not only how women respond, but how your self-respect and confidence grow simultaneously. Moving to the no apology rule, here's a practical way to make it stick. Every time you say no, ask yourself, am I apologizing because I truly need to, or am I apologizing to soften my discomfort about someone's reaction? Often, it's the latter. Replace, sorry, I can't do that, with a confident acknowledgement like, I won't be able to make it, but let's plan something else. This not only shows emotional strength, but also models self-respect. One of my clients, James, noticed that after implementing this, women started taking his words more seriously. The same decision delivered differently, calm, confident, and unapologetic, became a signal of reliability and maturity, which is highly attractive. For the respect reflex, consider subtle disrespect as tests of your internal boundaries. Most men miss these micro moments because they're socially conditioned to be nice or avoid conflict. But attraction psychology tells us that women feel more drawn to men who can maintain composure while asserting standards. A woman may roll her eyes, tease you in front of friends, or make a sarcastic comment. Instead of reacting defensively, pause, breathe, and respond calmly. Even saying, I don't appreciate that comment, in a neutral tone communicates more confidence than arguing or over-explaining. Here's an exercise. Write down 3 subtle disrespect scenarios you've encountered recently. For each, craft a 1-sentence calm response. Practice them aloud. By training this, you're not only protecting your status, you're creating psychological safety, which fosters deeper attraction. Now, let's explore the calm test in action. Imagine a woman teasing you about a hobby or accomplishment. Many men instinctively feel challenged or judged. But maintaining emotional stability signals that your self-worth is independent of external validation. Here's a storytelling example. One viewer, Michael, shared that his partner teased him about how often he goes to the gym. Instead of snapping or feeling embarrassed, he smiled and said, "Yep, it's part of my routine. Helps me stay sharp." That simple, calm response completely shifted the energy. She laughed, engaged playfully, and even expressed admiration for his discipline later. The takeaway? Emotional control under mild provocation builds subconscious attraction and signals leadership, qualities women are biologically wired to notice. For the authority-silenced boundary, overexplaining is a subtle form of weakness because it signals uncertainty. Let's put this into a practical exercise. Next time you need to decline, decide, or assert a boundary, communicate it in a single, clear sentence. Example, "I won't be able to join tonight, but let's plan for later this week." Short, confident, non-negotiable. Over time, your decisions will carry weight, your presence will communicate authority, and women will subconsciously trust your judgment and follow your lead. In dating psychology, this efficiency in communication is a cornerstone of perceived masculine energy and attraction. Finally, the mission-first code. This boundary is transformative because it flips the dynamic. Instead of a woman filling your life, she joins your journey. When a man wakes up with purpose, when his mission is front and center, he becomes magnetic. One viewer, David, described how, after dedicating consistent time to his entrepreneurial goals while dating, he observed a complete shift. Women were no longer trying to fill gaps in his life. Instead, they engaged more deeply, contributed ideas, and even became inspired by his focus. This is because humans, especially women in attraction psychology, are drawn to men who embody momentum, purpose, and direction. Here's a practical exercise to internalize this boundary. Define one mission or goal that excites you deeply. Break it down into daily actions you can take consistently. Then, subtly share progress in conversation or social settings. Not as bragging, but as natural integration of your life. This communicates magnetic purpose without being overbearing, and it creates a dynamic where she wants to be part of something meaningful, without needing to be the center of it. Now let's weave all 6 boundaries together with real-life storytelling and application. Imagine a man, let's call him Daniel. He's working on his fitness, pursuing a creative project, and scheduling personal time daily. He doesn't apologize unnecessarily, addresses micro-disrespect calmly, maintains emotional composure under teasing, makes concise decisions, and keeps his mission visible without being boastful. The result? Women notice, engagement deepens, attraction escalates, and Daniel naturally becomes someone unforgettable. The power of these boundaries isn't just in theory, it's in consistent, authentic action. To help you implement this, here's a 30-day challenge to make these boundaries second nature. Unavailable advantage. Schedule 2-3 hours daily where you're fully unavailable. Reflect on how it feels and how interactions change. No apology. Drill. Every time you feel compelled to apologize unnecessarily, replace it with a confident acknowledgement. Respect reflex exercise. Note subtle disrespect and respond with calm, one-sentence assertions. Calm test. Drill. When teased or provoked, pause 3 seconds, breathe, and respond neutrally or with humor. Authority. Silenced practice. Communicate decisions and boundaries in single, clear sentences without over-explaining. Mission clarity routine. Work on a meaningful personal mission daily and share progress subtly in conversations. By the end of 30 days, you'll notice not just changes in how women respond, but in your own sense of confidence, purpose, and authenticity. These boundaries aren't tricks, they're reflections of inner strength, and women are wired to respond to authenticity, emotional stability, and purpose-driven masculinity. So here's your call to action. Start small, implement one boundary at a time, notice the subtle shifts in attraction, and gradually integrate all 6 into your life. Drop a comment below sharing which boundary you're going to implement first, or type "noticed" if you've already observed these dynamics in action. Like this video if you found these tips valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more female psychology tips, attraction psychology insights, and relationship advice for men and women. Remember, every boundary you set communicates one core message: I know who I am, and I won't compromise that. When you internalize this, women not only notice, it becomes a gravitational force in your interactions. You don't need to chase, manipulate, or perform. Your presence, your consistency, and your purpose speak louder than words ever could. Until next time, set the standard, protect your frame, own your moment, and watch how the women who belong in your life naturally lean in. Over the next 30 days, if you follow this routine, you'll notice shifts not just in how women respond to you, but in how you feel about yourself. That inner confidence, grounded, calm, purposeful, is what makes attraction sustainable. Women sense authenticity, and they gravitate toward it naturally.